Welcome back, Chelsea fans, to another episode of the London is Blue podcast, your home for all things Chelsea FC. Nick, Dan, and myself cover all the match reviews from the latest Chelsea matches. We cover the team news and even throw you some exclusive interviews. Thank you already for being an awesome listener, and you know what? Let's jump right in. All right, Chelsea fans, here we go with part 2 of the week. If you missed our match review of Cardiff City featuring Gary Hayes of The Athletic, go back and check it out. It was an awesome time chatting to him. But we progress through the week, and as we normally like to do, we do a lot of your social media questions. And I'm excited about this one because by the time you're listening to this, we will be close to playing our first Europa League match of the week. So that'll be, or I guess of the season, not just of the week. So that'll be something different for Chelsea, and obviously something different for Maurizio Sarri. I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully this episode really leads us into that nicely. Joining me again are Nick and Mike. Gentlemen, thank you for being back. We really appreciate it, especially Mike, as it sounds like you are getting pounded with a heavy rainstorm right now.
Well, this is the Pacific Northwest, and it's not summer anymore, so the rain has cometh, and it's going to be ugly for the next few months.
Status quo.
Yep. Water's wet.
Nick, you stay dry where you are at, my man, obviously. Hanging out in the Midwest. Nothing but sunshine here for me. Probably the same for you.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it's I got a little too much sun on Saturday. I'm a rock lobster, as they would say out east. So, this is my life that I'm living right now. Lots of aloe vera.
All right. Well, before we get into the social media questions, in case you missed it, we have announced our trip to go back to London. We are super excited, not only just for us to get to go back and watch Chelsea play at Stamford Bridge. Nick, we are excited to, again, invite all of our friends, our listeners, friends of listeners, family of listeners, anybody who wants to go see Chelsea. An amazing opportunity to go and check out Chelsea. Not one match, but 2 matches this season, right?
Correct. For those who have been waiting for this news, we know it's been a little longer than we wanted to release our trip details, but we're going back for the 4th time with our partner XL Tours. Really excited to go back from the 28th of December to the 2nd of January, spending the New Year holiday in London, which is, from all reports, one of the best cities in the world to ring in the New Year. We're going to get to see Chelsea play at Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace and against Southampton at home at the friendly confines of Stamford Bridge. You will be staying at the Chelsea Hotel. It's a wonderful experience that XL Tours has put together. Plenty of beers with us, probably a live podcast, probably other shenanigans and adventures to go on. But if you have been thinking about going over to Stamford Bridge with us, this is your moment. We tried to arrange it around a holiday, so there was an extra, potentially day of paid leave or PTO that you can take without having to burn too much of your vacation time. So we just thought it'd be a great time to do this trip, and we really were looking forward to seeing an away match this time. Our previous 3 experiences have all been at Stamford Bridge, have all been really great, but we wanted a little to spice it up a little bit different this time. So really excited to go back from the 28th to the 2nd and do this. So key details, go to our website, londonsbluepodcast.com. That will give you all the information that you need to make a decision and a link to register with the XL Tours group. Other things that are available are a payment plan. If you see the price and you're like, wow, that's a lot for a one-time kind of fee with my bank account, then we have the ability to space it out over the next few months so that it's less of an immediate hit. There's also the option, if you're listening to this podcast and want to gift this as a holiday gift and experience, then you have the ability to sign up that way. And then we also have the ability to take on special requests. So DM us or email us if you want to do another experience while you're in London, and maybe XL Tours can source some tickets for a different kind of event for you, or if you want to go see another Premier League match, or if you whatever it can be that isn't listed on the itinerary. If you have questions about it, DM us and we'll take care of getting you in touch with the XL Tours group and see what we can do there. So I'm gonna stop rambling. We're obviously really excited about this. Our trips are freaking epic. Brandon, anything more to add?
No, I would just clarify, if you're thinking of, tickets for theater, ballet, concerts, museum tours, what be it, XL Tours can help source that for you. They live there, they work from there, they can get everything, at a rate that's, much better than tourists trying to source it on their own, because there's a lot of pitfalls. So again, go to the website, check it all out. It's going to be amazing. Jumping right in, we do have a question from Akshay on Patreon saying, just how much fun could this season be if we get football like yesterday? Mike, obviously we spent a lot of the last podcast kind of ranting and raving about, how much this plays to our attacking trio's strengths, about how we have this rock solid midfield, about how just this new style and everything is so much more attacking and forward focused. Just real quickly, on a scale of 1 to the best thing ever, how much fun could this season be?
It has to be close to the best thing ever. We've started off seasons well, and we've won lots of games, but the feelings that I have watching this team play is just pure joy. And I think, it's exciting. I'm happy to look forward to stuff, and it's not those like grinding out a 1-0 win. The team's having fun, we're having fun, and this, I think, if we're all being honest with ourselves, to be at this point with how little time Sarri had to get ready for the season, it just blows my mind. Nick, where are you standing?
It's a hell of a lot of fun. I'll put it that way. I mean, especially after, last season kind of took a negative turn. It's nice to see a lot of smiling around the bridge. Nice to see that the fans are aligned. And kind of the mission that Maurizio Sarri has. I think just like anything else, I just preach patience. I mean, the odds that Chelsea, go 39-0 for the year are none. So there will be tough moments, there will be challenges, but in moments where you can win easily 4-1 in a match in the Premier League, just take it and enjoy it. And when things get tough, remember these moments, because they're really fun and really great, and we had a hat-trick hero. So, I'm just really excited about the progression that we're seeing early, knowing that the league's about to get a lot harder for us.
So you're saying there's a chance that we'll go 39-0?
So you're saying there's a
hey,
chance.
Baby.
Write it down now.
I am not saying there's a chance.
I wonder what the odds on that would be. All right, we have a question from Brendan Morris, also on Patreon, saying, any news on Roman's situation with the club and the stadium redevelopment? Also, should I buy an Alonso away kit? Now, unfortunately, I haven't read or heard of anything about Roman's situation and the stadium redevelopment. I believe it is back on track-ish. But to your question about should you buy an Alonso away kit, now Brendan, I have been confused for a Brendan, and I don't take it the wrong way. But I also did just receive an Alonso away kit. So if you're asking should you do it, you and I already confused a lot. I don't know if we should be that similar and everything, but if you do get it, you will be very, very happy, especially with the way Alonso is playing. And the yellow,
tasty.
It is perfect. So actually going to be releasing a video unboxing all of the Chelsea's home and away kits coming at you guys. So I'll answer a lot of your questions there. All right, moving on to some more. The big question coming into this, Mike, is rotational depth. We have Europa League coming this Thursday. Pub Football on Instagram saying Europa League, West Ham, and Liverpool twice in the coming fixtures. How do you think Sarri will rotate the team, if at all? And do you see the Liverpool game as a benchmark for the rest of the season? Other people jumping in on this, William Thompson from a week ago on Patreon talking about is Victor Moses going to come back in? He hasn't even been in the squad lately. Obviously, Mishi's gone. We're down to 2 strikers. Squad depth is huge. Eric Barnes on Patreon talking about Ahmed on Instagram. Where's Victor Moses? Is he far out and done being in the contention for playing regularly? how many of those guys do you think that we are going to see come Thursday in Greece?
I think we're going to see a good amount. I think we're about to start seeing some real rotation within the squad. I think we're going to take Europa seriously, but I definitely think this is going to be a proving ground. I'm hoping to see, Ampadu and Moses and all the guys who are killing themselves and working hard in practice. So I'm excited in that aspect. As far as the Liverpool, what does that mean? What will we see? I think that's a tough question because obviously in the cup game, I don't think we're going to see either of the best squads. Although I wouldn't mind us going strong at that, knocking them out and continuing on, because I think it's important for Sarri to get multiple cups this season. But I'm kind of taking it as we're implementing the system. So regardless of how we play against Liverpool or not, I think it has no bearing on the rest of the season because we're just going to continue to improve. And I think we'll probably, we'll concede and it might not be our best game, but overall, we saw Drinkwater on the bench yesterday, so anything's possible. I expect to see Moses and some of the other guys come Thursday.
So, Nick, here are some names of people you might have forgotten play for Chelsea, and maybe they'll play on Thursday, but you have Victor Moses, your boy, who we all know, Zappacosta, Christensen, Cahill, Ampadu, Emerson, Fabregas, Drinkwater, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and even Callum HudsonOdoi, all on the roster, all almost maybe a little bit forgotten.
Yeah, you almost named a full squad of players there that could be our squad moving forward in other competitions in the Premier League. To me, it's obvious that Kovacic will not play on Thursday. It's pretty obvious to me that Eden Hazard shouldn't have to play on Thursday. It's obvious that I think Morata probably needs to take this moment and make it his own. It's pretty obvious to me that Jorginho has been playing week in, week out for a really long time and could probably use a break. Is Ethan Ampadu the solution there? Maybe. Is Barkley a solution there? Maybe. N'Golo Kante, give that man all the rest that he can get because he does three people's jobs on the pitch. And then when you look at the back line, yeah, why wouldn't you give Dave and Rudiger and potentially Luiz and Marcus Alonso, who has been running like a madman all season, minutes? Why wouldn't you give them a little bit of rest and give Emerson and Cahill and Christensen or some combination thereof that maybe Rudiger and Christensen get to see the pairing that they finally desire, that a lot of fans think is the best that we have. I think there's going to be a balance on Thursday probably that we'll get into at the last part of this piece, that is experience and youth. And so, yeah, I'd love to see Callum HudsonOdoi. Man, I really would. I think this is a match in a weird, tough environment in Greece that could be crazy good for him, But, I think the rotation between the FA Cup, between the Carabao Cup, and between the Europa League will ensure that the rest of the squad who are not our Premier League 11 get plenty of minutes.
I think a lot of people are hoping that, especially with the Carabao and the Europa League, that they are considered lesser competitions, that Chelsea will be able to play essentially a second 11 and not have to worry about the drop-off in kind of quality or potentially getting knocked out really early, because our second 11 should be able to play at that level. From Sarri's standpoint, I think that he is going to look at this as an opportunity to rotate quite a bit, but to me, I'm really interested to see if it's going to be 3 guys or 9 guys. And we're going to find out here really soon and see what Maurizio's kind of style and view on that is. But as we look ahead, as we continue down this line of questions, Dylan Brown on Instagram saying, who do you think will be the captain this season? And then at Georgie Giorgio on Twitter saying, who do you think will be our captain? It's pretty straightforward, Nick. I know Sarri eluded the question in his pre-match conference because he said he would decide after the international break. Nothing public has been said. He said he was going to tell the players first. do you essentially just assume it's Aspi based off of the Cardiff City match, or do you think it still might be someone else like Eden Hazard?
I don't know. I mean, I think we all have our different preferences on the show. I think he would have made an official announcement, so I don't think maybe anything's really been decided yet. Because after the international break, it could be Saturday or it could be November, right? Like, I think more people expect it to be sooner rather than later, but my pick is personally Aspi. I think he has played the vice captain role for a couple of years now, and I think is a guy who's well qualified to take on that role. I know a lot of people want it to be Eden Hazard, and I wouldn't be mad about that either. I think that he's certainly playing at a really, really high level right now, and if he wants, I think the whole thing is if he wants that additional responsibility of being the captain and a true leader on the pitch instead of a creative playmaker, then you give it to him. I'm not sure. Again, that wouldn't be my pick, but I would be happy with either solution, Mike.
Yeah, I got to say, I don't agree with either because as we know or we've heard, there's the potential it's going to be JT because Captain Leader Legend is coming home.
Oh, he's back.
That's right. So,
that's right.
No, jokes aside, I'm looking forward to JT coming back, hopefully in a coaching role. But I think you keep it with Dave. My personal pick. I would love to see Eden wearing it and continuing to score, 25, 30 goals. But I think Dave is going to take on the additional responsibilities of getting in the referees' faces and, just marshaling a little bit more effort from the back and letting Eden just focus on scoring.
Brandon, your preference?
I say, what a nice thing to do. Just let Eden score. Let him only worry about putting the ball in the back of the net. As we continue again, Dylan also asking how nice of you, Mike, to say, will John Terry return to the bridge and what was role B? Well, conveniently, it just came out that he turned down his opportunity to play in Moscow. He also is admitted to being at Chelsea doing some coaching, but he says he still wants to play one more season. I think that if he does come back, it will naturally be in a coaching role with the academy. I think that he can join anyone on a free. So I still think that if someone gets an early injury in the championship or something like that, he could be quick to join another team. I feel like he doesn't really seem like he's ready to call it quits yet, but at the same time, he's very selective on who, if anyone, he would join. Nick, do you think that there's any other options? I mean, look, he can't play a high line. He's not going to play in Sarri ball system. I just don't see him coming back in any playing capacity at Chelsea.
No, he's there to do badges and train. And anytime he wants to come back, open arms. We're so excited to have his presence back at the club for however long it's going to be there. I still think Derby County's on the table. I think the dynamic between John and Frank are probably, they'd have to work out how that would look and deal with kind of different dynamics than when they were playing together. But if you're Frank and you could bring on that kind of personality to help you get into the championship playoff, then you do it. And I think that would just. That would be a dream scenario for so many Chelsea fans who are invested in Frank and Mason Mount and the whole Derby County project. So really, I look to that as a potential solution. But while he's at Chelsea, let's just have him impact the team with his mentality and his work ethic and make sure that everyone feels that again.
I think if Dan was here, Dan would say, after we go, or as we're going 39-0, we would sign John. We would sign John towards the end of this. We'd bring him on as a coach, and then we would sign him for the last few games. So yeah, you've heard it here.
Wow, bold predictions. I like it. Our friend of the pod, Eric, Quick Shot CFC on Instagram, saying, how many hat tricks does it take for Eden to sign a new contract? I mean, Mike, we've got one. I'm hoping it doesn't take more than 2 hat tricks to get that signature.
There's a lot of things that are going to happen. And I think if we choose to focus on not being happy until Eden signs a long-term contract, I think it's really going to color the way that this season goes. And the way I see it is, as Gary was mentioning, we've got 2 years with Eden. I imagine that the club will see out those 2 years, and I think we should enjoy every moment of watching Eden play the way he is, and loving the game, and just knocking in 5 goals in 5 matches. Don't worry about the contracts, because there's nothing we can do, and if anything, maybe more goals might make it more difficult. So we'll see, but I wouldn't even worry about contracts. It will work itself out, and either way, I didn't mention this in the first part, but even if Eden leaves after having an outstanding season, it helps the club, because what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to, hopefully have a lot of money and go to somebody, a new talent, and say, look what Sarri can do for us, and we want to make you the next Eden. So, overall, I'm not worried about it. It's going to happen if it's going to happen. What are your thoughts, Brendan?
I think that we should freak out and assume the worst. I don't know. I mean, look, to me, it's
that's my kind of thinking right there, baby.
No, I mean, obviously we all want Eden to stay, and we want Eden to be amazing. So let's hope that he really, really enjoys the playing style under Maurizio, and it's an easy decision for him, because Chelsea have gone out and signed really good players. If he continues to have success with Giroud, there's just a lot of momentum, I think, that Chelsea can build on to help keep Eden happy. I mean, the good news is he's a stable guy, and he likes that part of it. So, we have a lot going for us with Eden. Back to the discussion of our midfield 3, because, again, this is the big discussion, really, with who that third person is, or do we rotate? But at Yarek_Koska saying on Twitter, is Sarri trying to push Barkley to become a second Jorginho? He is giving him a lot of time. He likes the trust. Is this a new Chelsea philosophy? But then you get into Ryan Stuberg on Instagram, Kovacic versus Barkley, but he still wants Ruben Loftus-Cheek to come in. Buddy CL, if RLC would not have been hurt, do you think Barkley would have still been on the option? Barlow, we're essentially talking through the depth chart, right? At this point, our midfielders work so hard, Nick. We know that we're going to have to sub at least one of them towards the end of the match. The question is, who comes on first, I feel like, is the bigger discussion, Barkley versus Ruben. And kind of where do you think Maurizio is leaning at this point?
I think he leans Barkley, because Barkley's been there for the entire preseason, and he's had more time with him. Everybody's hope at the club is that Ruben turns it on and makes himself impossible to leave out of the squad, right? Like, impossible. He hasn't done that yet, and we've talked about Ruben a lot this season so far, and for good reason. But Barkley's clearly impressing Maurizio Sarri. So to me, I think the question becomes, are they playing different roles? If they're competing against each other, I think that it's a difficult scenario for both of them to be in. If they, if Jaroslav is right, and we're seeing a move for Barkley to be more in the Jorginho role than to take over for Kovacic, then maybe there's a scenario where they both play. But I don't know that for a fact, and I think that's just maybe a little bit of wishful thinking, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, I would say the one thing that slightly has me disappointed is that just the little bit of issues that we do have with RLC is the injuries, and once again he goes away for England duty and comes back with a foot injury, and perfect game in which he might have found himself playing, and he's missing it due to that injury. So I really hope that Ruben's fitness, if he can just keep it at a super, super high level, because, the same thing happened at Crystal Palace. He was having a fantastic loan, and then, that got ended with another injury. I think that's my biggest worry of his position. And either way, I do think that Gary had a good point in which I would not mind seeing, maybe for some of our Europa matches of having maybe Fabregas come and sit in Jorginho's spot, maybe put Ruben, where Matteo is, and then trying out Barkley on the right, further up, maybe for a Willian or a Pedro. I think that might be an interesting look.
All right, good news. We got options. Chopping and changing right now. Again, I really think that the Europa League is going to help us get an idea of A, squad depth, and B, get minutes to those people who need them so they can get match sharp and they can be a really solid threat coming off the bench. All right, here we go. We have more conversation about the right wing spot. Arona _ Hazard's magic balances out Luiz's awfulness. He gave away the free kick that led to Cardiff scoring. What do you guys think about Odoi taking that right wing spot over Pedro and Willian? And then at Peretsky saying, do you think Kepa looks confident enough? How many goals do you think Hazard will score in EPL? Defensive lapses. Again, I think this at P _ Blue saying, I feel like there's 10 to 15 minute window each match where I lose our focus and concede. When we talk about Kepa and the defensive maybe lapses, to me, and we bring in this because Arona's talking about David Luiz's awfulness a little bit harsh. To me, what I think it is because we're so attacking and we're so on the front foot, Maurizio's teams will naturally probably be less defensive minded. Like our wingback, they're not even wingbacks, but our outside backs are playing like wingbacks, and that will put our center backs in tough positions for them to deal with. And that's what's happening with David Luiz. He's being put in one-on-one situations out wide, which is not where the center back wants to be. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but to me, I feel like Maurizio's style of play will always kind of give you less focus on the defending and maybe not the best shape at all times with that high line. So again, to me, I feel like that's a little bit of a trade-off between having the amazing fluid attack, heavy possession-oriented style of play. Mike, is that how you kind of read the situation right now, especially with like the David Luiz and the Kepa and the kind of defensive shape that we've had?
100%. For me, it's a team game and it's about winning. So if we are, we've shifted Conte's role, we've gone more attacking, and if that means that we're going to concede a goal in each match, that is the reality. But we're seeing the return of 3 or 4 goals as well, and I think this is where we were talking about it before. FIFA, like, screw the stats. Don't worry about clean sheets unless those clean sheets are affecting how many points you're walking away from the match. And if we're going to attack, it's going to leave us a little bit vulnerable, and we're just, this year we're not going to worry about, 1-0 wins. We're going to enjoy some 4-1, shootouts. And I'm excited, and I'm a defender, and I'm okay with conceding if it means that we're going to have beautiful attacking football, because end of the day, that's all that matters, is that we're scoring. Too often we had situations where in the past couple of years, we were conceding very, very few goals, but we weren't able to score either. So, once a goal went in, it was very hard for us to get 2 goals back. So I think, this is kind of like in your movies where somebody gets punched in the mouth and, they scored in the 20th minute. We wiped a little bit of blood from our lip, just smiled, and we're like, let's bring it on. Let's do this, because we know that with the attackers that we have, that Cardiff wasn't going to keep us from scoring for 70 minutes. And I think that's the difference between maybe this year and last year. And, again, if we're going to attack, we're going to concede, but that's okay.
Nick, what do you think about the kind of trade-off between defensive organization and offensive just being so lethal?
Everything is cyclical. I mean, City and Liverpool both give up goals, and no one, really talks about that, at the length that we've been talking about our, some of our silly mistakes. So, it's what style of football you prefer, right? Last year when, we were really, really defensively solid, in patches, which, let me take the 16-17 season as a better example. When we were winning 1-0 on 13 in a row, no one was really complaining about the style of football because we were winning, right? It was very defensive. It was locked down, and we had a couple of moments of magic each game that, we would typically score goals. There are a lot of people who'd prefer to see a 4-3 win for Chelsea, and it's because it's a little bit more exciting. There are more goals, more attacking influence. So whatever style of football you like, you're kind of viewing this Chelsea team through that prism. Chelsea right now are playing a free-flowing, possession-oriented style of football. I think it's really fun to watch. But I really, I love a really solid defensive performance too. So some of the silly errors are annoying me. I know a lot of people feel opposite of me on that. So again, it's just whatever prism you prefer. This team is going to be fun to watch all year, though, and maybe that's the difference from last year.
No, I don't think we're going to have any concerns about the entertainment side of it, which is good, right? I mean, Chelsea been rebranding, saying we're thrilling. It's an experience. So hopefully we live up to that a lot more this season. So this one's actually just kind of funny from @Kanye_West_Ham saying, how come all the Norwegians are dominating your fantasy Premier League so hard with only Norwegians in the top 3? So, hey, credit where credit is due. Disclaimer, I joined in week 4, so I'm coming from behind, but if I keep putting Eden Hazard as my captain, it won't be long before I'm knocking on the door. I just feel like I got a lot of momentum going for me. All right, last one we have up today is @Chelsea_mate saying, could Kepa have done better on that goal? It feels like his reflexes aren't that sharp.
Get him, Brandon.
Get him.
There's no need, right? I mean, no, I would say, like, just the situation, he's moving from front post to far post, so he's moving laterally. Bamba is coming in flying, and realistically, the defender needs to make it harder for him. That was a free header, essentially at the top of the 6. Not a whole lot he can do except just try to get big. I know that Kepa's kind of been questioned with some of the goals we've been giving up. To be fair, a lot of the goals that we have given up, we've been giving attackers way too much kind of time and space very close to the goal. And when you're that close and it's all point blank, it's pretty much impossible. Ben Foster gave up a goal against United for Watford, where Chris Smalling essentially turned and volleyed it from inside the 6. It went 6 inches away from his face, but he didn't even react to it because it just happened so fast. So to me, it's just a matter of close proximity. It's pretty much impossible to get a reaction at that point. He's just trying to get as big as he can and hope something hits him. So to me, again, it just comes down to the amount of space our opposing attackers are getting inside and around the 6-yard box. But Nick and Mike, feel free to jump in with other perspectives. Not that they count, but you can at least listen.
hey now.
Only kidding.
I will say that I think that the one angle on TV was a little bit unfair to Kepa. I think between slowing things down and watching it, it kind of looked like it hung up there for him to maybe come out to grab. But I think when you look at it in real time and from the other angles, it was a ball that was well whipped in, and he basically ran free on goal. So I don't think there's anything much that Kepa could have done had he not, had the defender not kicked it straight into him.
Yeah, it was just poor marking. That goal is not on Kepa. That goal is on, I think it was Jorginho letting Bamba run through. So, I think that maybe one of the Arsenal goals you could have put a little bit more blame on Kepa for, but this one, 0. I mean, there's just no time to react in that scenario.
Yeah, zonal marking out.
Agreed. I cannot agree with that more.
All right, I can get on board with that too. All right, well, thanks everyone for your questions. As always, if you want to make sure it gets asked, you can join up on our Patreon. That is a huge perk for all of the people who donate to us. But for the rest of you, again, just a huge, huge shout out of appreciation for engaging and helping us create better content. But we are going to go ahead and move on to the match preview. But real quick, Nick, man, we've got our discount code for all of our listeners out there.
Correct. World Soccer Shop. We've extended that agreement with them for parts of our promo code. So we have 10% off using the code LondonPod on WorldSoccerShop.com. So if you're there and you're perhaps buying a Marcos Alonso away kit, our buddy in the previous question referenced that. You can use the 10% off code for the total amount of the shirt. You can apply it towards extra customization. You can think about paying for shipping. There are a bunch of different things you can do, but it's our gift to you. If you're out there buying Chelsea gear, go to WorldSoccerShop.com, use our code to get 10% off and save yourself a few bucks. Why not?
All right. Love it. Well, here we go. So I don't totally know how to correctly pronounce this team's name, but it's in all caps. So I'm just going to say PAOK FC in Greece. Gonna be a Europa League match, first one of the season at the Tumba Stadium. It'll be this coming Thursday, September 20th. Again, the only question really for me, guys, and for our listeners that we've gotten, from @StuffSabSays, is will Sarri's selection on Thursday be an indicator about his squad management skills? Last year, Conte didn't rest players midweek, and we paid for that. How can we improve our zonal defending? I'm just kidding. We're not going to talk about zonal defending. We already said that. But to me, again, is it just an indicator for you guys about how Maurizio Sarri is planning on rotate his squad? One thing that people said about his time at Napoli is that he didn't rotate his squad, but that was specifically because he didn't have the depth to rotate it. So Nick, I know we've kind of talked about how much we're expecting it to, but do you think that this one match is going to be indicative of Sarri's squad management for the rest of the season?
No. I think it will change and evolve over time. I mean, it's to me, it's one thing to go to Greece in a really crazy atmosphere. I don't know if you guys have all seen the videos from, I think it was one of their derby matches last year where the whole stadium was basically lit up in flares. I mean, this thing is going to be, the atmosphere is going to be super intense, and I think Chelsea should easily cruise to a victory here based on the gap in talent. But, a Europa League match away at a crazy atmosphere versus a Carabao Cup match at home versus an FA Cup match at home or, away. I think all these scenarios are different. Sarri will select the team that he thinks probably will balance his squad out a little bit, give key players some rest, and, also still win the game, which is the objective, right? If his objective at Napoli was to win every game, then he's going to pick the squad that he thinks can do that without necessarily killing Eden Hazard and N'Golo Kante by playing them in 65 matches in a season. So I think it's just a balance we're looking for, Mike. Sorry, I had Matt down here in the script. That we're gonna look at a team that's balanced. We're probably not gonna do 11 changes, but we're probably gonna rest the players that need to be rested because we know, Liverpool's on the horizon in 2 weeks twice.
Yeah, I think in a lot of situations you look at the idea of, okay, this is Europa League, they're probably going to get a B squad. I actually feel bad for Greek opponents because you have a ton of players who have been working really hard and they're hungry. And I feel like we're going to go in there and these dudes who've been working their asses off under Sarri and finally get 90 minutes, they're going to smash them. I'm calling a 5-1 win right now. But
whoa.
No, but think about it. I think Sarri has done such a good job of keeping people hungry. You look at the difference between last year and this year. He's effectively using substitutes around the 60th minute. He's giving people 30 minutes at times to change the match, giving them time to get in there instead of it's the 85th minute. Why don't I use a substitute? So I think that this is what these players have been working hard for. This is what Moses has been working hard for. This is what, HudsonOdoi, Ampadu, everyone who's been showing up and putting in shifts, they're waiting for these opportunities. And I feel bad for our opponents because I almost think that some of our starters might not have their, be ready to put their foots to the throats because they would be kind of downshifting a little bit. Whereas these guys they're going out to show, they're going to go show their manager what they can do. And this is their shot. So I expect to see, hopefully, a fantastic match.
I had some interesting questions from Brian on Twitter and Malu Jedi 1 on Instagram saying, what is it going to take for Christensen to start a match? Same thing. Is Callum HudsonOdoi even going to feature on the bench? And the same thing goes with Ampadu. Do you think that, with that being said, Nick, and then on the opposite end of Nick Creda on Instagram saying, should Hazard even travel to Greece because maybe he needs a rest, getting some of the youth players in? And then our friend Brett on Patreon saying, do you think that Sarri is going to leave key players in London? He's biased because he's going to West Ham away and he wants to see those guys play. So Brett, have a ton of fun. Safe travels, my man. Chelsea Youth, I just saw on Twitter, is saying he thinks that Sarri's going to go there, get the 3 points so that he can get essentially qualification locked up early, and then we can play the younger guys. But here's the problem. Those are considered meaningless minutes. When those young players have to go out, but they know that at the end of the day, if we lose, it's not a big deal, that changes the circumstances. To me, I want these squad players and these youth players to go play in high-pressure situations where losing matters, where the tension is high, where the stress level is high, and they have to go out and perform. To me, I just think that at the end of the day, that's what Sarri really has to capture for these guys. Otherwise, non-competitive minutes doesn't mean anything.
Amen to that.
I agree with that. And I think if I was a player who hasn't featured regularly yet, I think the thing I would look for, because I've been working so hard in training and because I'm trying to prove myself, is I want Sarri to trust me in these types of moments, right? If I'm a Callum HudsonOdoi, I want to look at what Eden Hazard did on Saturday and say, you know what, I'm going to go do that to our Greek opposition. I'm going to give you that level of production because I'm better than them, and you can trust me to take care of these 3 points for you. Same with Ethan Ampadu. You just saw me play, for Ryan Giggs in Wales and look like an absolute world beater in the, kind of Jorginho type pivot role. So now, give me the chance to do that to our Greek opposition here. Like, give me the opportunity to prove it. And I would want that trust in a match that does have something on the line. And, what those players then do, let's pretend that, we have 5 changes or 6 changes and it's some of the cast of characters we talked about earlier. What that does for those players is gives them extra motivation and the license to express themselves, rather than maybe what under Conte they did last year was, shrink away because there was too much pressure and not enough trust. So I think there has to be a balance between the two, and let's just hope that an Ampadu and a HudsonOdoi and a Barkley and a Fabregas and a Christensen, maybe those are the 5, that they all take their moment and really do something special with it.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, I think too often we went with the Jose Mourinho method of, this is important, let me start all my starters, and then it didn't go well, and we got knocked out of cup competitions, or you don't get the best results, so there's no time for those youth players to come in because we're going to the end of the match or the end of the group stage still needing points. So why not? There's 5 more matches after this. So why not go, give everybody a rest, see what people can do, and kind of, vet those players in real situations, because we might need them for much bigger competition further this season.
And Brett, have yourself a ball at West Ham, man. Again, just do your thing.
Enjoy the bubbles.
All right. Well, that is going to go ahead and wrap us up for this episode. Again, thanks everyone for the questions. Fantastic stuff. Again, we expect the discussion to be about how much squad rotation is going to happen for this Europa League game. Again, get in touch with us, email, social media, however you want. Would love to continue this conversation leading up to Thursday, but that's going to do it for us this week. Really looking forward to kind of seeing Sarri in Europe with Chelsea, even though it is Europa League. Still think there's a lot of potential for the team there. So again, it's going to be a fun day out. I hope that any fans traveling stay safe, have fun. As Nick mentioned, crazy scenes from videos that we have seen there. But that's it. That's going to wrap us up again for this week, Chelsea fans. Really, really appreciate all of you listening in. And until next time, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.